All right, we'll call to order at 7:30 in the morning. Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We'll get right into it. Pledge of Allegiance, we'll say when the elementary school downstairs says it. Just makes sense.
Comes in.
All right. Yeah, it'll come in over the intercoms. So, okay, so the first item is recommended action, approval of minutes from April 3rd. Jenny provided, looking for motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy. Seconded by Mr. McCaffrey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second is approval of minutes from the April 5th meeting. Look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Calori. Second. Second by Ms. Danbrook. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I want to go back to item number 1 on the agenda, which was, and I am remiss in this, we want to officially welcome Mike Iafredi, who is now the Assistant Director of Capital and Construction Projects.
Mike.
He will morph into Steve Gothberg, both in physical appearance and age. So welcome aboard, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, there's no old business, project administration, bid review documents, nothing there. D2 is bid reviews and awards, and at this point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Spiegel, who will turn it over to.
I'll jump on this one. So
Okay.
we solicited 2 proposals for consulting services for the owner. This is the Pilgrim and Tollgate High Schools. The first one being the commissioning agent proposals. Commissioning agents are in charge of the testing and verification of the MEP systems of the buildings that's during construction and post-occupancy. They also play a role in the design phase where they review the design documents and provide input. So that's why we're trying to procure them now during the design phase. You'll see on the matrix under the commissioning agent proposal list, we've got 5 proposals. At the bottom, we have BR plus A. They are, in our opinion, are the highest rated and the lowest bidder. Matt has had a very positive recent experience with this company, and that contributed to their top rating at 98. So we would recommend their approval for commissioning agent services.
Yeah, I concur. After my review.
Okay. Are there any questions for Left Field on their analysis of the 5 submissions? Okay, hearing none, I look for a motion to approve the commissioning service award to BR and A. Moved by Mr. Bowl, second. Second by Mr. Lucy. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, bid
Next,
24.
we have
Environmental engineering.
Proposals for environmental engineering services. This is for the review of the existing soil conditions to look for contamination and recommend remediation if needed. Again, we received 5 proposals and all qualified firms. This is a qualifications only procurement. We cannot, for the master purchasing agreement, solicit prices from them. So it's quals only. 5 proposals, all qualified firms, but you see that Sage did not submit all of the required documents, the familiar relationship, NBE documents, and so forth. Didn't consider their proposals. But we do see Teague and Bond at the bottom. We feel, and we all agreed that they submitted a very good proposal. They did some back research on the sites and added that in their write-up, and we really we like that. So they are the top rated firm, and we recommend them for approval.
Yeah, we reviewed and concurred.
What's the issue with fee? We don't have a fee.
So per Rhode Island general law, municipalities cannot solicit any pricing information for environmental or design services. The reason being is that the state of Rhode Island's prerogative is that if we were to select firms based on their lowest fee, that we could potentially be putting people that aren't in the best position to make decisions on behalf of the municipality. So it's Rhode Island general law, even with a master purchase agreement, and I've fought this fight before. Even with a master purchase agreement, we're still not allowed to ask for price.
Maybe we don't need to pay them then.
But having said that, what these procurements allow us to do is enter into negotiations with Teague and Bond. And if for some reason we cannot come to an understanding as to price in terms of their work, we would then enter into negotiations with the next highest ranked firm. In that case, the next highest ranked firm is PAR.
It's the same process as we did with the architects and the OPMs. proposals first and then negotiate price later.
All right, looking for a motion to approve bid 24-0015 award to Teague and Associates?
Teagan Bonds.
Teagan Bond.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Danbrook. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, call a vote, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Okay, next is recommended actions and awards. Is this still at Field, Steve, or is this you guys?
This is our office.
This, all right. Do you want to take them?
Take them all as a
Any
group.
objection to taking A through G? It's also co-show, so we can discuss each project one by one. If someone wants to question, we'll just question it as Steve presents. Okay? All right, Steve.
Okay, what we're trying to do is these are all the building envelope projects. I think as the committee knows, we are running into long lead time. These are long lead time items, especially Robertson, Wyman, and Cedar Hill. They are all hurricane missile D windows. So we have asked Mr. Guglielmo and his team to get designing on these right away so we can put them out to bid well in advance. So these are for the building envelope projects at design work for Hoxie, Lippert, Robertson, Veterans, Wyman, Cedar Hill, and building envelope. Cedar Hill and Welk are for estimates. I'm sorry, they're not for design. These would be for the estimates for those. So that's why they're a much lower number. The estimates that are required for RIDE.
So what are these numbers based on for Hoxie?
8% of the budget.
Okay.
The estimate is always an additional cost.
Well, Steve, the hurricane windows are just Wyman of these schools?
No, it's a Cedar Hill, Wyman, and Robertson.
Cedar Hill too?
Yep, we were a little surprised, but it's within a mile of the coast. You go up, you go up Cohasset, and it's less than a mile.
Yeah, okay. All right. Any questions for Steve on any of items A through G?
When are these projects gonna get initiated?
It looks like they'll go somewhere 2025. But these hurricane windows, we're looking at anywhere from 30 to 35 weeks. So you have to go way out. So Mr. Guglielmo and his team have agreed to start designing those first, and then we'll move into the non-hurricane windows.
We have Cedar Hill and Welk pretty much finished. That's why we're doing the estimates. That's what those last two are for the estimates. We're in the CD phase right now, and on Cedar Hill and Welk. The other ones are in design phase right now.
Okay. Any other questions for either Sakosho or Mr. Gothberg? All right, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve items 3A through G totaling $295,272.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded. Second by Ms. Danbrook. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, item H.
We can take all these together if you want.
Oh, H, they're all environmental abatement service. Okay, so items H through J, environmental abatement services for Cedar Hill, Holloman, and Walt Neck. Mr. Gottlieb.
So before Mr. Cutie went out on long-term medical leave, I asked him to put out a minor bid for abatement services, air testing required for these envelope projects. We've been having trouble getting additional quotes. ECM's really been the only one. We also reached out to Vortex, and he just has not been responsive. He was responsive, but didn't seem to be, he could handle it. So at Cedar Hill, ECM was low. At Holloman, this shows why we really need to go out to bid whenever we can. The difference was $11,000. So Rhode Island Analytical was low at $16,980, and at Warwick Neck, Rhode Island Analytical was also low at $23,66. So we seek your approval for ECM at Cedar Hill, Rhode Island Analytical at Holloman, and Rhode Island Analytical at Warwick Neck.
Any questions for Mr. Gothberg on any of these? Okay, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to accept items 3H for ECM, I for Rhode Island Analytical, and J for Rhode Island Analytical.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Glory, second. Second by Mr. Bold, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries.
These we can take together too, next two.
Yeah, the next items K and L, WB Mason, how's that? And Premier Office Installations, Steve.
Okay, so these are for the bookcases that, bookshelves that go against the exterior walls where at Oakland Beach underneath the windows, where we removed radiators and unit ventilators. It's a much more economical solution for finishes, and it also gives additional storage. When we talked to WB Mason, they were going to include the install package. After further discussion with them, if we broke it out separately, we saved $12,000. So, WB Mason was putting a profit on it, so they agreed to let us contract directly with Premier Office. And they also said they would control the install, so it's a win for us. So we seek your approval for WB Mason for $91,708.26, and Premier Office Installations for $16,450.
So originally, the first document I looked at WP was like 120-something thousand dollars.
Yeah.
So,
It's a lot more money, because they use their specific installer, and they took forever too, so. I'm hoping-
there's a markup on everything,
Yeah.
everything on that. Every component has a markup. Okay, all right, so, okay, any questions for Steve on that? Okay, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve items 3K and L, W Mason Premier Office Installation.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Danbrook, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lucy. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, item M, Newton B. Washburn / Hoffman, to be determined, Steve.
This is for the closure of the oil tank at Oakland Beach. We put this out quite a while ago. It originally was to exceed not $10,000, but as we we opened the tank up and got into it and did our first hole at the bottom of the tank. We found the water table was at 5 feet below grade. The tank was 8 to 10 feet below grade bottom. So we immediately started getting water into it, so we couldn't drill any more holes. So we had to do borings all around it. So it's an additional $3,000. So we agreed not to exceed 15K in case there were any other issues, but the final price to be determined. So this is kind of, we don't know the final price yet, but we seek your approval to continue with the work.
And you come before us with the final.
Right, we will come back once we
Right.
know.
Okay. And so the plan is what, the tank not being removed, right? It's going to,
No, it'd be,
Like you do
it'd be
Holland?
banded in place. It's in a courtyard. The only way to get it out would be to have a massive crane reach totally across the building, somehow get a machine into the courtyard, excavate it. We would hit underground site drainage. It would be a nightmare. Plus it'd probably cost another 25 to 30K minimum. So we'll fill it with flowable fill and abandon it in place. We'll be doing the same thing at Greenwood when we move forward with that project. That is also in the courtyard.
Yes,
okay, all right. Any questions for Steve?
yes.
Okay, hearing none. Looking for motion to approve. It's Newton Washburn Hoffman, Steve, or is it?
It's two separate companies. Hoffman handles all the interaction with DEM, and Newton Washburn does the actual work.
So we're approving item M to keep moving forward with the work being done by Newton Washburn and
Not to
Hoffman.
exceed.
Not to exceed,
$16,000.
not to exceed $16,000. Okay, motion to approve that.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Glory, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lucy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, change order reports, we have two. E.W. Berman,
Okay, we'll start at Oakland Beach with E.W. Berman, BCO number 8. We knew this was coming. When we got up into the attic and a few other locations, as we found in Warwick Neck, there was Romex run by our previous district electricians, which is not to code, had to be replaced with either BX cable and conduit or conduit. The total of the work it was done by T&M. We found that that's the most cost-effective way to go. They tend to overestimate what it costs. We're looking overestimate the cost as we look for a hard number. So this one was $11,298. You can take them all at once or individual, everyone. Yeah, probably individual.
Yeah, let's take them individual. Yeah. All right. So I'm looking for a motion to approve PCO item number 8 for $11,298.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second. Second by Mr. Bowl. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next one, Steve.
Okay, number 14, PCO number 14, transformer relocation. What we found when we went to place the when we measured the existing location of the transformer, it was between two blast walls. The new 2,500 amp transformer was not going to fit once we got the actual dimensions from Rhode Island Energy. So we moved it outside with an additional excavation. We had to bore through the blast wall foundations and pour a new pad, which wasn't planned. But to counteract that, I suggested we go to aluminum secondary lines, feeders instead of copper. Even with the extension of the run, we're saving money in total. So it's a credit of $4,531. So we thought that would be the best way to go. We seek your approval on that.
Okay. Any questions for Steve on that? Aluminum to copper to aluminum. Okay.
And the relocation of the
Relocation.
pad.
Okay. All right. Looking for a motion to approve PCO item number 14, a credit for $4,531.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Danbrook. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next one, Steve.
Number 16 is added lighting and switching in the closets in the sped room in the basement at Oakland Beach. The original design, once we got into it, didn't work. So we had 2 separate lights and switching with a cost of $2,059. Once again, all these have been reviewed by the architect and myself and Mr. Ifredi, and we seek your approval.
Okay. Any questions for Steve? Looking for a motion to approve PCO number 16 for $2,059.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bowl. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, Steve, what do we got?
Okay, next is, this is a heads up. We sought complete interior painting at Oakland Beach. The contractor came back with a price of $160,000 to paint the interior of the building. We thought that was extremely unreasonable, so we told them no. I talked to Mr. Oliver. His guys don't want to paint the whole building, but I asked if they would paint the corridors and the AP room at least. And I think they're going to do that. We will pay for the paint, whatever that cost is, I will bring to the committee for approval. So I just want to give you a heads up on that we are trying to do as much as we can with the money we have. Number 18, when we got into kindergarten rooms, we moved the bookcases and file cabinets away from the end walls. There are vinyl covered gypsum panels that were in horrific condition and ripped, and the bottoms up the foot and a half are all destroyed by wax stripper. So instead of ripping the panels down, we came up with a solution to cover it with FRP. We checked the numbers look good. So those 2 rooms to cover the walls with FRP and make it look nice, it's $5,907. I think it's money well spent to dress up the rooms. Seek your approval.
Are those the rooms in the trailer?
Yes, our lovely trailer, yeah. Yeah, the last 2 where the kindergartens are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brown, old, fake wood look, and at the bottoms are just shredded. It's all peeling.
So the stripper won't impact these?
No, this is FRP. This is fiber reinforced panels, fiberglass reinforced panels.
All right, any other questions for Steve? Excuse me. If not, looking for a motion to approve PCO number 18 for $5,907.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second. Second by Mr. Bowl. Any questions? None? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last one, Steve?
Last one is, it's been discussed before, at Oakland Beach, as we were reviewing the building on the outside, above the cornice at the front of the building on the Oakland Beach Avenue side, we found that the brick at that level, that 3 to 4 feet above, has deteriorated beyond superficial repair. We had to get so bad, we had to get a structural engineer to get up there and take a look at it. To do that, we had to get a lift and an operator. The cost was $2,541. We will be coming back to the committee with the findings on that and a suggestion beyond masonry to repair it, as the masonry we will feel will be in the $200,000 to $250,000 range. We're looking at much more cost-effective solutions. Mr. Guglielmo and his team are looking hard at that, but we seek your approval for the 2541 so we could do the inspection.
Okay, Steve, that masonry just wears out with age, right? Water.
Yeah, the mortar's gone, it's starting to leak, it's bowed, it's not only a leak issue, it's a structural and safety issue.
Okay. Any questions for Steve? All right, if not, looking for motion to approve PCO number 21 for $2,541.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second. Second by Mr. Bowl. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, Steve, change order reports for Allborg.
All right, we have one PCO,
Just one.
5R1. When designed, there was not a manhole structure in the design. WSA, Warwick Sewer Authority, came back and demanded that there be a structure. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to do it. The initial proposal was for almost $11,000. We went back to them, felt it was too much. They included some layout and surveying that didn't need to be involved. So we got it reduced to $8,466. Seek your approval. It's not something we can argue with.
Who does the work? The sewer authority?
No, that's the contractor.
Okay,
But as part of their work, they're gonna have to do it.
okay. Any questions for Steve? Okay, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve PCO number 5R1 for $8,466.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Galori. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next would be consent payment authorization. Steve, we'll take each vendor
Yeah.
at a time instead of going into. First is ADS for $3,951.
These are the final two changes at Hoxie in Norwood for ADS. It was an outlet and there's one other thing at Norwood that needed to get on. I can't remember at the top of my head, but total to $3951.26. Application number 9, ADS. They have done a great job there. So I have no problems with this.
Okay. Any questions for Steve on either of those? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve ADS items 5A and B for $3,951.26.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Danbrook. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, Allborg, items C and D for $921,200.
As you know, work has been going on both at Greenwood and Warwick Neck. Whenever we can get it done to get a jump on the summer projects. So Allborg had worked at Greenwood and Warwick Neck, several holidays, days off, and April vacation. So $921,200 $200. It has been reviewed by both the architect and our office, and we seek your approval.
Okay, any questions for Steve? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve all board items C and D for $921,200. So moved by Mr. Lucy, second? Second by Mr. Bowl. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, commercial roofing items E and F. Steve?
All right, we're waiting for commercial roofing to finish up some minor issues, and we held a retainage for a couple of years. They finally got everything done in $36,565.70. We seek your approval.
And that completes that project?
That completed, yeah, it's been completed for a while, a couple minor items, and we don't know if we'll be using them again.
All right, so looking for motion to approve commercial roofing items E and F for $36,565.70.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Danbrook, second? Second by Mr. Bowl, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next items, ECM items G and H for $5,220.
This is for the air testing and additional work needed at Oakland Beach for the asbestos we found. $5,220. We seek your approval.
Any questions for Steve? Hearing none, looking for motion to approve ECM items G and H for $5,220. Moved by Mr. Lucy, second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Calori. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item I, E.W. Berman, $1,467,804.
All right, this is for the work at Oakland Beach. Progress is pretty good. Al has reviewed, Mr. Calvacagno has reviewed it, and I agree with it, so we seek your approval.
Any questions for Mr. Gottberg or Sokosha? Yeah, project's on schedule. Yeah,
Except
you're gonna
for-
give us an update later.
Except for the
Steve,
damn
where
windows.
does that bring through application for? What percentage of the project has been billed?
Don't know off the top of my head. I don't have it in front of
Are we
me.
halfway there or?
Probably more than that.
It's more than that.
More than that. It's more like probably 68, 65%.
All right.
Okay, so, looking for motion to approve E.W. Berman item I for $1,467,804.91.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second? Second by Mr. Bowl. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next, items J and K for Garofalo and Associates, $35,164.
This was for the additional site exploration work that the committee approved, I believe it was last meeting. The work has been done. Results are in, so we seek your approval for $35,164.
Any questions for Steve?
Steve, I have a quick question.
Mhm.
When they did that, what was the ledge situation on my
It's
property?
there. There's
Like,
a
is
lot.
it worse or better or
I don't
the
think it's
same?
worse. I think it's what's expected.
Okay,
But it was more new areas that we had to explore because of the movement of the building forward,
okay,
okay? And as we moved it forward, it was actually the ledge was a little deeper than we thought in some
It's
areas.
substantial, the wedge is substantial on the slope.
Yeah.
But that's not news to you.
no, it's not. I just,
No, it's there.
Yeah.
And that's why everything goes like this.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
thank you.
all right, so looking for a motion to approve Garofalo and Associates item J and K.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Calori. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, items L and M, left field for $220,000.
They're doing a good job.
Yeah, this is just the regular monthly.
Yeah.
All right, so any questions?
2 months though, right?
Yeah, 2 months. Yeah.
April and March.
All right, so looking for a motion to approve left field items L and M for $220,000.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second? Second by Mr. Bowl, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, item N, Newton B. Washburn for $10,300.75.
This is for the initial work, tank closure at Oakland Beach. More to come.
Was that, what closure?
Oakland Beach, the oil tank.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Steve?
That's the TBD from the previous item.
Yep, yeah, it's probably another 5K.
All right.
Looking for a motion to approve Newton Washburn for $10,300.75.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second.
Second.
Second by Superintendent Danbrook. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item O for SOM Architecture for $304,686.
This is for the design work at Pilgrim in the high schools. It's seek approval for $304,686.
How far along are they on that?
They're strong DD right now.
Any other questions for Steve on that? All right, hearing none. Looking for a motion to approve SOM item O for $304,686.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bowl. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, items P through CC for Secosio and Associates totaling $573,784.32. Mr.
This
Gosper.
is for all the design work on the project listed. This is the 40 million and $56 million, mostly $56 million projects. It's not the high school, so we seek your approval for that design work. $573,784.32.
Debbie, were they further along than some? Is that why it's higher?
This has nothing to do with the high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there, Shelby High School.
One of them's W was.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yep. No, I think they're not, billing is awful.
I know it should have been 304, just like sign.
Yeah, keep it even, make it easy for us.
Well, actually, this is for schematic design. Schematic design fee is 1.7 million change, and with this, it brings it up to 1 million of the 1.7. And we're probably 95% done with SD, so we're actually underbilled.
So they're billing in stages as opposed to monthly. So,
Right, okay.
okay.
So we're saving money. We like that, right? All right, so looking for a motion, any other questions for either Steve or Secosio? Okay, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve Secosio items P through CC.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Calori. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item DD, Stephen Turner for $556.
This should be the last or one of the last invoices for the commissioning work for the Sherman renovation project for the HVAC system.
All right. Looking for a motion to approve Stephen Turner for $556.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. McCaffrey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lucy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last of the change orders, last of the
Invoices.
invoices. Signet items EE through GG totaling $3,600.
This is for the interconnection work that's needed, to go between the new door hardware and the existing Verkada and swipe system. Signet seems to be the only one who understands how to do this, so we have agreed to work with them on this. So as we do new doors, this stuff will come forward.
So every time we replace a door, we need
And that
that.
has to be reconnected, yeah.
All right. Any questions for Steve? Okay, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve Signet EE through GG for $3,600.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second. Second by Ms. Danbrook. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to new business. Discussion. Project status update for Mr. Gottberg.
Okay, at Oakland Beach, we're in pretty good shape. All the HVAC equipment is in, except for I think one rooftop unit that we're waiting on that should have arrived this week or will be arriving. Steel is, we've got a couple locations yet to finish the steel. They were struggling to get a piece in yesterday as we were walking through about some conduit. It's a difficult job, but they're in pretty good shape. We got word from Rhode Island Energy that the transformer is on a truck and should be here momentarily.
In Kazakhstan
Yeah,
somewhere.
so
Arriving.
once they have it in possession, we will guard it with our lives. And at least we'll have it here. Switchgear is scheduled to come in middle of June, which will work. There will be a downtime of a couple weeks while I tie that all in. But we seem to be in good shape except for the dreaded windows. We know they're coming in mid-August. We worked out a plan. The two major areas of concern are where we took the doors out, removed the fire escape. We have to have those rescue windows in. School can't open until those rescue windows are in, so they'll be the first one that goes, first area of those two locations, and then the 4-room addition where we have floor-to-ceiling window walls. And they'll go in before school starts, and then we'll have to work second shift to get this stuff done. Well, we're in pretty good shape. At Greenwood, during April vacation, they got 90% of the ductwork that goes in the attic in place, installed, and the ductwork that wasn't installed was brought into the attic. So we're in really good shape there. Plus, they did a lot of the electrical runs within the building to the classrooms. They got panel cans in, main panel in, there's transformer pads there, approved, bollards are in. We got a lot of work done ahead of time. At Warwick Neck, we put in the force main from where that new manhole is gonna go up around the back. Of course, they hit the water main service line again. They hit it last year, they hit it again this year.
At least they're consistent.
Alzheimer's, I think. And, but it was repaired quickly, no major damage. We did find that, this is a heads up for something that will be coming. We found that from up the hill, Warwick Neck Avenue side, there are 2 clay lines that somehow drain subsurface water down to right behind the building, and it's flooding, and there must have been some trench there at one point in time that's either was filled in, detritus, I'm not sure what, but, so we opened that up and water just keeps pouring in. And we found that that's the reason that 4-room addition in the back has had that, those flooring issues, where we had to have that floor replaced last summer by Mr. Oliver and his team. So to prevent further damage to the building, we're going to put basically an oversized French drain line at the bottom of that hill, pick up that water, run it down next to that new force main, and tie into existing storm drain that then goes out behind, way behind the building, and daylight's probably 200 or 300 yards down. So that should take care of that problem, but there will be a change order coming from that, because if we don't do that, we're gonna continue to have problems with that building, and we need to take care of it. And the other thing that happened at Warwick Neck was that whole line of metal panel and flashing that you approved the change order for was taken care of, and it has stopped the leak and done a good job. So that building should be in much better shape for years to come.
So that line of clay pipe we're talking about, is that
I
school property thing, or does it go beyond the
I,
school?
no,
the city?
it comes down, there's houses up above, we don't know, there's no history on it, we can't figure it out. Is it a catch drain system for those houses and it dumps down and it was there before the school was built? We can't figure it out. But all I know is that there's water pouring out of it,
Yeah.
and it can't, we gotta stop it.
Well, I'm just asking for the cost to fix it,
For what?
about the cost to fix it. And it doesn't have to be fully borne by us, and there's
But-
someone else who has some responsibility. I mean, that's a whole investigation,
That's a
digging and everything else.
I have to stop it.
So, no, I know, that's fine. I mean, it would be interesting to know how that got there. This,
A clay pipe, it's
It's
old.
Yeah, it could be 40s. it could be-
Probably when they built the neighborhood, probably.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know.
some of those houses, they would have.
Because that was all
Yeah.
empty land down there, so they
Yep.
probably just daylighted it down there. And it looks to us like it daylighted to a drainage trench that slowly over the years has gotten filled in and is forgotten about. And now the water's got nowhere to go.
Hey, just looking to see if we could get some money for it, but.
Who do you go after?
Well, I know.
Build a house in 1930?
All right. Any other project updates, Steve?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. All right. Next would be discussion, high school project update per left field. We may get interrupted by the announcements, just so.
So before you today, you do have our monthly project update. Left field is in the habit. There's no requirement down here in Rhode Island to provide a monthly project update like this to the Rhode Island Department of Education. There is a requirement in Massachusetts. We think this is one of the better things that has come out of the Massachusetts process, and we would like to keep submitting a monthly project report to this group as well as the Rhode Island Department of Education. It has an executive summary, has an update on our procurement, an update on the project budget, a project schedule, and several attachments, including our conceptual budget, a cash flow projection forecast, as well as an updated project schedule. As of this meeting today, just to give you guys a general update, as of this meeting today, we have brought on the majority of all of the project partners that we will require for this project. Mr. Gothberg and I are still working on one final procurement for a hazardous materials consultant with the school departments heading out on FMLA for a period of time. So we're working on bringing that final person in. In terms of, now that we've got all of these team members on board, now is when we're going to start getting real numbers in, and we're going to start to have those difficult conversations that we've talked about for many months. So I just want to continue to prepare the group that there are going to be difficult conversations ahead to make sure this project remains moving forward at all times. We have our first scheduled ride meeting as well for early May. That is still up in the air, whether that date is going to hold. We want to make sure that we have all the project partners and we're giving them the right information at that time. In terms of funding updates, Mr. Gothberg and I are working with RIDE to submit our first PAYGO application payment as well. That PAYGO application payment will then be reimbursed to the city. For those of you that aren't aware of what PAYGO is, PAYGO allows Warwick to submit bills after they pay them directly to Rhode Island Department of Education and then through RIBEC to get reimbursed on those payments, as opposed to waiting until a project is fully completed to submit reimbursement. So it's a way to kind of manage the cash flow, manage the borrowing of the district. Having said that, I'll turn it over to Matt and John if they have any additional items that they'd like to add on this.
Chris covered the general overview of the report. If you look closely, you'll see, as Chris said, a breakout of the budget tracking matrix that we're looking at every month. If you turn to that page, if you get your magnifying glass out, you might be able to make out some of these numbers, but we have several columns here. Budget changes. As of today, we have no changes to the budget, and then column C is the revised budget with no changes. It is the same as column A. We do, you'll note under column D, have some committed costs. Committed meaning we have several contractors or consultants, as Chris said, on the contract, all soft cost related, and we do have some expended costs. Those are things that have been invoiced to date. On the bottom line, you'll notice that's $2.7 million to date that's been invoiced. And so that's what I wanted to point out to the committee as far as the budget tracking matrix goes. I think that's it, Matt. Is there anything else?
Just to piggyback on what John said really quickly, this was completed by taking a look at your general ledger. So thank you, Brandon, for making that available to us. And I think probably moving forward, we'll probably have a check-in probably once a month with you just to make sure that our numbers are lining up with your numbers.
Excellent. And for anybody who watches the recording, all of these documents are on our website. They're on the Secretary of State's website. It's all public records. Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that I'd like to add, if you look at the budget, at the top, we have the direct costs, which are really the construction costs. And within that, we will kind of provide that as a aggregate here on this sheet, but we do also track it per their scheduled values on our internal budget sheet. So Mike, if there's ever a time that you'd want to look at it or any financial kind of deep dive into it, we have all that information as well.
So what's that mean in English?
Schedule of values is a line-by-line breakout of the cost of the work. So
Okay.
what you're seeing here is a total cost. So on the schedule of values, we would see a number for masonry, how much have they build towards masonry at percentage
Okay.
steel.
And the breakdowns under that category.
Yeah, that's fine. So that's the detail. That's the other detail. That's fine. Absolutely.
Is this the final square footage, 209 changing 216? Is that, no?
No, we're still working on the square footage.
Okay. So it could get smaller.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think it may have to.
It will.
It will, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's meant to be a snapshot in time. That's where they stand today.
Yeah.
I can't get much smaller.
Anything else from left field on the house? Any questions for left field on the projects? Okay, the next item is new business item 3, discussion action, Rhode Island Energy Low EUI Incentive Program participation.
In your packets, you have this document from Rhode Island Energy. This is for the incentive program for new construction projects and renovation projects to take steps during design to lower what we call the energy use intensity, or as they refer to it, EUI. This project is eligible for that. And if you turn to the second page of that document, it lists the different tiers of eligibility according to what we think is a realistic energy use intensity target for this project based on the design measures that we're taking. We think that, and Mr. Polito agrees with us, he's the design engineer on the project, that tier 2 is a very reasonable target. That's an EUI intensity of 29 to 35 points. If you look down to the tier 2 category under incentives, they pay after the end of construction $1.50 per square foot of the building of incentives if we follow their path. And what that includes is during the design phase, Rhode Island Energy provides an energy modeler. It's an energy consultant that will work with us at each design phase of the project to track how we're doing in terms of our projected EUI for each project. So again, at the end of that project, we'd be eligible for, you know, considering we have a $200,000 200,000 square foot building in each case, we're looking at over $300,000 of incentive payments, right, for each project, which we think is a no-brainer, if you will. There's also a post-occupancy option that's completely optional. That is if we decide in the year following construction that we want to track the actual energy use intensity of the projects as they are performing. We don't have to make that decision now, but it's an option. It's an additional incentive of $1.50 per square foot.
Is that on top of the tier 2?
It is on top of the tier 2.
Okay.
It's on top of that tier 2 payment, yes.
So you could realistically, theoretically get about
Theoretically,
$1.2 million
you
on the entire thing, right?
There is, I want to make clear, there is a cost sharing component to this. That energy modeler that I mentioned that Rhode Island Energy provides, they approximate it's probably going to be about $5,000. It's comes out of the incentive payment at the end, so it's not an upfront cost that the district would have to pay. So I want to make that clear, but I think Mr. Hippolito was at the meeting that we had with Rhode Island Energy and agrees that that's a realistic target for these projects, and we would recommend that the district proceed with this program.
Questions for left field? I sat in on that meeting. Learned something, but it's mine now. Talk about,
That's
but
why I wasn't at that meeting.
so like the tier 1 net zero, that you would have to have such a heavy investment in energy efficiency and everything else. It's a budget buster for us, right? So, are there a lot of, general question, are there a lot of schools that meet that tier 1?
Not here in Rhode Island, that's for sure. In Massachusetts and Connecticut, I can think of maybe 2 that have hit that. It isn't a tremendously expensive outlay. Just as an example, where I currently live, there's a student group and there's a parents group that's really pushing it, and it's going to add $45 million to Barrington's project, so, which they don't have.
Well, you're lucky to recruit that over the life of the building. So I don't know why, I get it. I mean, it's nice to patch stuff on the back to look what we've got, but you pay for that at the end. So,
And also it's a lot of maintenance work. It's specialized maintenance. Kevin Oliver's team does a great job maintaining your buildings right now, but that would probably require hiring additional staff to maintain these items. Warranties are not as set in stone as we have warranties on more traditional HVAC systems. There's a lot of risk to it, and we don't necessarily see a reward for work.
and the other half of the training, your maintenance staff training, you're going to need technicians. really. So that, which means your rate of pay is going to go through. You're going to see increased costs all the way around, right? Just to have the qualified staff to service these things, training up the wazoo.
Not only that, but you're talking, in order to make these things work, you're talking geothermal in most cases as well. And with the amount of ledge that you have on Tollgate, that's a non-starter.
Yeah.
Right.
From the mechanical point of view, the systems are very similar. Going there, the low EUIs I see on like elementary schools because their usage is much less than a high school. High school, you know, you're building beautiful auditoriums, you're building things that you want your community to go to. EUI is your energy usage intensity. So now if you're in there, you're using energy.
Right.
So that tends to have a punishment effect on a high school level. It's not that, and they mentioned 29 to 30, very attainable. Again, under that, it'll be a lot of like, we're just not using the building, and that might not work well in the community.
Right, exactly.
We should also say that there is no ride requirement, contrary to what some people might say, to build a net zero school. We have construction regulations are 110, I believe, 110 ships points. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but
110.
yeah, but it's not a requirement.
Oh, Steve will tell you, I was a pain in the neck for geothermal at Pilgrim, but you guys did a rough estimate. It's like, that's not gonna work. It'd be great to be able to say, look, we've got a zero energy school, right? But,
Maintenance costs and replacement costs are
right.
out of sight.
Okay, any other questions for left field? So what the action will be to adopt the tier
There's
2
a-
targets.
Tier 2, yeah.
At the final page of that document, there's some lines for signatures, one of them being the customer, the other being the architect. So at some point, the signatory, whoever that ends up being, would need to sign that.
Yeah, okay. All right, so, and there's no downside to this. If you don't hit it, you don't get your incentive.
Right, yeah, there's no penalty.
Right, that's what I meant, okay. All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve the Rhode Island Energy BUI incentive at the tier 2 levels as presented by left field.
Someone,
Moved by Ms. Gambrich,
second.
second by Ms. Calori. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, save the best for last, Steve. Discussion action, HVAC comparison recommendation and approval to succeed. So who's taking this one?
Mr. Hippolito will take this.
This was handed out separately, right?
Yes.
Yeah, everyone should have that. Is the committee up to date on the status of the HVAC system decision? The fact that we have two systems in play currently, the tempered air, which,
Yeah, we've discussed
Okay,
tempered air
so
versus
it's
HVAC
just wanted
at the beginning of this adventure.
got it.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, so what's being offered in front, again, is the two systems, just to kind of give you a quick overview of it. You know, one being, which was considered the base design, is gas-fired boilers is your central plant, your heating source. Tempered air would be in the classrooms. Now, the building, the major spaces would still be air conditioned, like your cafeterias, your auditoriums, administration that's year-round. If there's any specialty rooms that require air conditioning, that would be in there too. I would estimate the building, its fully air-conditioned capability would be about 60% of the building would be fully air-conditioned. What wouldn't be air-conditioned would be the classrooms. The classrooms in the sense of it wouldn't react to an August day. That's really what it won't do. The classrooms will have ventilation air going to them. The ventilation air is run through a rooftop unit that is treated. During the summer months, it is cooled down. So it's cooled down to 55 degrees, moisture is given off, and that's delivered to the room. It gives an air conditioning feeling in the space.
Good morning, Oakland Beach Sea Stars and friends upstairs. Today is Wednesday, May 1st. Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing and think about making positive choices today. The Sea Star Pledge. Today and every day, I will try my best. I will be responsible for my choices. I'll be respectful towards all people and property. I'll be safe in my actions. This is my C-Star pledge. The C-Stars are Kelsey Hull, grade K. London, grade 1. Madeline, grade 2. Sagana, grade 3. Aria, grade 4. And Olivia in grade 5. You may come down and get your mini prizes. Please be seated. Thank you and have a great day.
That was a quick one.
That was a quick one.
No book reading today.
So just to clarify, because when you say there's no air conditioning, okay, that sends a lot of people into a tizzy, right? So I think you have to define what air conditioning is, right? So there's like the air conditioning of your house, you turn it on, it gets
Yeah.
cold.
So to define air conditioning, I define it as if your desire is to meet set point, say 75 degrees, there's enough cool air in there to meet 75 degrees in the middle of August, a design day. So design day around here is August, middle of August, it's 95 degrees outside, and you're trying to maintain 75 degrees inside your space. So that is what I consider a fully air conditioned space. So what you're getting is a space that on that day, you probably won't make 75 degrees. It might be 78, a little warmer, but the room won't be like what you have in these old spaces with unit ventilators where you're bringing in 95 degree air and it's very, very humid inside. The room will be, have a dehumidified feeling because you have all that outside air that's coming in, that's been run through a machine, cooled down and brought into the space and then warmed back up. And it will feel like it's cool inside. It will feel less repulsive than outside.
Right.
So it has the feelings and the overall mindset of being air conditioned without paying for that extra parts to make sure to guarantee 75 degrees.
And East Providence High School has a similar system.
Yes. So East Providence High School has the exact same school design. East Providence does. And East Providence is one of the schools everyone's familiar with because it's in Rhode Island, recently built school. But in Mass, I've done a lot of Mass work. Abington Middle High School is this design. Somerset Berkeley is this design.
Smithfield in Rhode Island, Smithfield, all their projects are this design as well.
Yeah, and Marshfield High, Franklin High, Bridgewater High School, these are all this particular design. And even currently in construction, Somerset Middle is being built in construction. So now you have a community that built this design in a high school and they were comfortable with doing it exactly the same way on the middle school. So the middle school's in construction will probably be done in a couple months.
Okay.
And most users of the space, they have no idea. It just feels good. It feels comfortable. There's no complaints. The place is conditioned, and there's really, and when you really need all that air conditioning is in the middle of August when no one's there anyway. So you're paying for all this extra air conditioning to not have it when you're not there. But during June and July, you don't have the same solar gain you get in the space, and the spaces will feel cool. If you have a rogue day, like a 95-degree day, it's gonna feel a little bit, but it won't feel like 95 degrees outside. Like we've had rogue days with these projects, and there's still no complaints.
And we have a similar system in Warwick Neck.
Warwick Neck. And the other thing to remember is that, if we're gonna do a summer program like summer school, and we have it at Pilgrim or we have it at Tollgate, we do those in the common areas where you do have AC. So you could run those in cafeteria, you could run those in auditorium, and everybody be very, very comfortable and there'd be no impact. Mike, Mike's background is HVAC additionally, so Mike, you wanna input on this?
Yeah, I guess the first question I want to ask is, this tier 2, is it obtainable with this type of design, right? For energy use?
It is, but one thing that happens when you're doing EUI is there is a bit of a penalty because if we use gas.
Right.
So when you're bringing gas to a building, it's not looked upon as because it's not sustainable. It's consuming gas.
Sure.
And so when you use a heat pump approach, which is electrified, the equation is rewarding the fact that you have electrified building ignoring the fact of where electricity is generated.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And coal is.
yeah, so it ignores that part of it because you're bringing a gas pipe to your building, you take a little bit of punishment. However, it's very attainable. Somerset Middle School, it's a slightly smaller building, but it's a middle school. They're very similar to high schools. They have auditoriums, big gyms, big things like that. And that one, I believe, reached 25. That
Right.
was the goal, was 25, and that's a gas-fired approach. I know that the term gas, it's still high efficiency. Like, even though we're bringing gas to a building, it's still high efficient. Equipment is incredibly high efficient. The rooftop equipment is high efficiency. You know, we have all the same features in them. The hard part is it's not considered sustainable because it's gas.
Right, and the only reason why I asked that question is because, you know, the industry trends is going towards that VRF heat pump system. It's the, you know, the best of the best now, if you will, right? So, but that is not going without said that the tempered air system does a job, right? You have a brand new system, brand new envelope of a building, it's gonna be tight. So I, in my opinion, think that we can get away with the tempered system, use that. If we have summer programs, we can definitely, you know, use that system to AC the space that we need to. So in my opinion.
You'll have your spaces that you need, like major spaces being air conditioned. And two recent projects that started this path of the VRF, which is Central Falls High School and Martin Middle School. Central Falls is a brand new school, much smaller, a little over 100,000 square feet. And Martin Middle is a major addition with us. They kept their auditorium in their gymnasium. Those all went the same path of VRF, and they ran into the same money constraints. And to take the VRF and go the gas-fired approach, save the considerable amount of money, which is why they went that way. But they're still going to get the same, like the building, they won't even know the difference, honestly.
So a couple points I just want to make with what both of you said. First, Central Falls High School, that is a ride-run project. So that is, they get 98.5% reimbursement when all is said and done with bonus points. So even RIDE on a ride-run project can't afford that specific part of that system right now. The other thing I wanted to say is something that Mike said, and it was just a kind of a quick thing that he said, but I want to reinforce it. These systems work best with tight envelopes. So if we have doors open and we have windows open throughout the building and things like that, it's not going to work as well as it's designed.
And older buildings such as the Tollgate and Pilgrim right now, which are all littered with unit ventilators everywhere, when it gets warm, people open windows because it's warm. But with these newer approach buildings, you probably go by East Providence High School, the windows are never opened.
And they shouldn't be open.
Because it's not gonna, they never open because they feel comfortable. So they're comfortable in there, they have great ventilation coming in, and it's quiet too. Like there's no unit ventilator noise. That's usually they shut the unit ventilators off because they're loud. The unit ventilators are what's bringing ventilation air, so now that's off. And they open up windows because they're hot. You have a system that's bringing in ventilation air, treated, delivered right to the space. All the mechanical devices are on the roof away from the learning areas, so it's a much quieter system. And the users are comfortable, so they don't have to go and open a window. They don't feel like they need to.
Technically, you shouldn't even have optical windows. But
that's not a sell,
They want to
yeah.
open them, right?
Yeah, and they're there to meet the requirements of, you know, user, like leading chips want you to be able to change your environment. That's part of it, you know, control thermostats, control different things like that. So it's there, but if you're comfortable, you don't tend to want to run to the windows. So you don't open the windows in your car if your car's comfortable inside.
It's a bit of a paradox where RIDE wants you to have an incredibly efficient envelope, an incredibly efficient HVAC system, but they also want you to be able to open windows. So it's those two kind of butt heads with each other.
And one more point, even though we're talking about these two systems, you will still have gas in the building, whether you go with the VRF or the gas system, because you still have science rooms that need gas, you still have a kitchen that needs gas. We're not going all electric in the kitchen because that's more costly. So we still have bringing gas lines to the building. So you're not eliminating fossil fuels altogether.
And then another point is, what we found with the VRF system is, controls are very complicated. We got multiple units throughout the building. And once again, we get to maintenance and the capability of the existing maintenance staff to take care of these much more complicated systems where the tempered air system is a little simpler and controls are a little less complicated.
Yes, they are. To add that extra element of having full air conditioning, you have another device in there. You have a evaporator. And those systems they're individually not bad, but the controller is what makes them different. So once you buy into a system, you're always buying that same part. You got to go back to those same people. So you buy Mitsubishi, Samsung, or LG, their communication language is what makes the difference. Because otherwise, it's a fan and a coil. It doesn't know the difference. But the communication is what makes it know what it's talking to. And that is what's always going to keep you in that environment of a Mitsubishi system. You're going to have to go back to Mitsubishi. If you go with something with gas-fired boilers, hot water systems, if there's convectors, a fin tube, or other devices somewhere else, it doesn't know the difference. It doesn't matter. The controllers can be taken off and put right back on that valve, and the device is the same. So you can go to anywhere and buy a replacement part. It opens up your avenue of getting fair price replacement parts.
The important point here is post-COVID, air exchanges in the classroom. The system is really taking outside air.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
taking fresh air. right?
Fresh air.
And it's pushing it through the school, right? So you don't need to open your windows, but that's always been a thing in the old buildings, right? That's why we put the air purifiers during COVID, because
Yeah,
we couldn't guarantee the air exchanges.
but you look in here, you don't even have a unit ventilator in here. You have fin tube on the walls. So your ventilation air is the windows if you open the windows,
Right.
which was code at one point in time. But now modern day code, it's not that. So now you're taking a building that didn't have ventilation and we're adding high performance ventilation. And, that air so the air that's brought into the space is treated, cooled and all that, and heated if needed, heated. It's usually just tempered up. That's why it's called tempered. We don't heat it so it doesn't stratify the air. We just bring it to a neutral temp so it blends into the space. And that air, before it exits the building now, because what you're putting in, you're taking back out, it's run through a wheel, energy recovery wheel. So we extract the heat out of that wheel to preheat the air coming in. That's where your energy savings will come in. So you have your little energy recovery devices that are there inside the equipment, which is pretty common in most mechanical systems nowadays.
One other point to make is if you look at the last item on the right-hand box, the part of the additional cost that you see is because you're going from a 2,500 amp service to a 4,000 amp service. Substantial cost, special equipment, and that's why that per school cost is so high.
And just to add one other point to Steve's earlier comment on the complexity of the VRF system, firsthand experience in North Providence. In 2019, they built 2 schools, both with VRF systems. They've had nothing but problems since opening, really centered around controls and keeping them.
And that's what we're running into at Women, we're running into, not so much at Sherman, that's from, it's because Dave designed it.
I was gonna say here, I don't know what, I do have a lot of projects that have VRF
Yeah.
and they are working spectacularly.
Right, but what happens is everybody has a little bit of control. They don't quite understand them. They don't operate like your T87F round dial that you used to have in your house. It's a little bit different and they're a little slower responding. So people don't quite understand. And the tempered, it seems to be a much simpler solution and much more cost effective. And as we're seeing at vets, if you get a bad system, it's a bad system. When we got the LG, I think Dave, you've had some experience with LG or know
Yeah.
about. If you get a bad system, it's a nightmare. And we run into a nightmare at vets. We've had good luck at Sherman. Women is now shaking itself out, but they are complicated and I worry long-term about maintenance and replacement.
So big picture, I think it's an issue of policy kind of being pushed forward before the technology has a chance to catch up, right? The all-electric policies that come out in terms of sustainability. So you're getting a lot of movement, and then a lot of companies are trying to catch up and break into that market, and you know, it takes a while for a workforce and to adapt to it. I think
Yeah.
that's the issue that we're having in North Providence. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the two new schools that we're building in North Providence right now, they're not.
No,
Yeah,
VRS.
exactly.
That was the director.
I just asked that you evaluate the special programs that we have. There may be some shift with programming opening up at Pilgrim. It's currently on the Tollgate campus, so we get the accurate number of what rooms to support for the special need programs. And also ask that you be cognizant of any 504 plans out there for staff members who need air conditioning. To support anyone that needs it. And I know there's gonna be a shift in population a little bit. The program's moving over to Pilgrim. What we have today is gonna be accurate 3 years from now.
But flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder if there are accommodations for air conditioning, how the temperature systems are meted, right? So that may be a discussion. One would think it would meet it.
The temperature and this is where, if someone tells me, I need you to guarantee 75 degrees, then I can't. I can't guarantee 75 degrees in August. 75 degrees most likely in June, yeah, but, and like, if you want me to guarantee 75 degrees on a design day, I can't with this system. There's not enough air that's being provided. However, like in these situations where you have teachers or students that require it, most likely the time they're there, the building will meet what they want.
Right.
But it's, how do I tell you it's guaranteed?
Yeah, and there's always a balance. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even
And
with
for
an air
most of those
conditioner.
people, that's a humidity issue more than it is a temperature issue. It's a like a breathing issue, an asthma issue. So if you're saying that's a dry air kind of situation, then I don't think we'll run into as many
I agree.
issues. Can I just also ask a question, just because the amperage came up? Do we anticipate that amperage increasing prices also in other parts of the building? Because I know right now, we are not where we should be, at least on my campus, in terms of amperage. So if it's that much of an increase just for the HVAC, is that going to be an issue with other parts of the building?
No, because
No, it's all, this is all kind of all built into it.
Okay,
You know,
that's
like
what I wanted to
one thing you will see is, when modern day buildings, the modern day ventilation and much more air conditioning throughout the building, the overall electric cost is gonna go up. Now, I know the square footage of the buildings are getting smaller than what you have there, which, because Tollgate's very sprawled, well, they're both very sprawled out. And, but usually when we see like very like underperforming, ventilated schools, and then they go to a new school, it's like, wow, it's a big shock. Because it's like, well, now you're properly ventilated. We're bringing in what you require for ventilating, and it's being treated properly, rather than it leaking through windows, walls, and things like that. So you will see that. But as far as the amperage goes, no, you're not gonna see big changes. Most of your power consumption in your building is your heating and air conditioning systems.
and, you know, if you're worried about whether you're gonna have enough electricity in the rooms, that's all being
Okay.
designed in and factored in what we're talking about here.
Yeah, you'll have probably more than enough.
And
outlets and
remember, we're
plugs.
going to, you know, most lighting, all lighting will be LED, it's all low energy.
Yep.
So consumption is expected to be less than you're using now in the same spaces, I would think.
That's it, yeah, your lighting's, LED is standardized for everything now, but you also, a lot of the equipment will have, light harvesting technology, which, the advantage of that is like, if you have a lot of sunlight coming in, you have sunlight and really bright lights, it's really bright for students' eyes. The lights will adjust to that level to give you the same foot candles, like, regardless of what's happening outside. So if it's a cloudy day, lights will come up a little bit. If it's not a cloudy day and it's very bright and sunny, the lights will dim down a little bit. Everything is vacancy switches. So if you come in, you have to turn it on and it will stay on. And if you leave and no one's there, then the lights will shut off. So that's where a lot of the energy saving measures are being installed that are pretty common. And there's also things that happens with plugs, like plugs are supposed to switch off. They'll be identified, that way you know which one is a live plug all the time in case you have something that needs to stay on, or if there's things that can be shut off to not have that vampire power consumption.
Vampire power.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. Yeah.
That's why
Second
I
Friday.
walk around and unplug things all day long, and I get yelled at for it. Unplug
The other
coffee
thing is-
machine, unplug the toaster.
You know, we're looking at a cost difference of just under $6 million. right?
Yeah.
Between a tempered air system and a VRF system. And the 6 million, we have to be cognizant of that. $6 million is $6 million.
It's a considerable amount of money, and it's something that, if you put it in, you're designing the school to be fully air conditioned in August, and that's, and I know I've said August a lot, that's what I'm trying to stress to you guys. Like, it'd be designed to be a design day when most likely that school's not even occupied. And you're spending $6 million to do that. Or that $6 million could be allocated somewhere else,
Yeah, just as a round number, $6 million equates to about 7,500 square feet of school space.
And the other thing to remember is, your staff will come in mid-August, but those spaces are AC. It's the,
Not allowed any total before school starts.
I think at the end of the day, these jobs are budget driven, right? And then towards the end, they're gonna be schedule driven. And
Yes.
HVAC system is one of the biggest systems that you're gonna have in this building, and going towards commissioning and turnover, that's when it gets dicey. So, the more complex the system is, VRF is great, but I think there's a lot of things that can go wrong with the system during commissioning, during maintenance. I just think for the money you spent, I don't think it's worth the energy saving, in my opinion, but
I
that's
don't know,
my
I just do
sense.
want to.
Anything else for,
our office.
anything else for the experts here? And Mike, you devoted your career to that, so, okay.
So just the thing with the air conditioning, because you mentioned spaces, what I'll do, whatever you walk away with, I'll take the building and I'll highlight what we typically see as being fully air conditioned spaces. And then what will be tempered spaces, and then you guys can review it, and if there's a couple spaces you want to add it'd be good to have that to be air conditioned.
Sure.
Like those kind of spaces, you can do a one-off VRF, like one condenser on the roof and evaporate in the room.
Because you bring in fresh air anyway with the DOAS units at all spaces, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I probably just say is, be aware of if you just add a lot of spaces, then you're making the building air conditioned.
Right,
So
right,
so you gotta find that
You got to be smart
balance.
about it.
of like, all right, well, these kind of spaces really should have it, and this would be nice, but we're not paying for that.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so at this point, I'd look for a discussion action to adopt the DOAS tempered air systems for the new high schools.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Calori. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lucy. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so now that's one of the first tough decisions. Okay, public comment. There are no members of the public. If anybody has any requests for future consideration, feel free to offer it to Jenny or myself or Steve. The next meeting date will be June 5th. So with that,
I've got one
go
thing
ahead,
to say.
Mr. Go.
Next meeting, I will not be able to be here. Mike will step in for me for the meeting. I have a doctor's appointment I cannot change, so I want to let everybody know. Okay.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, at this point, looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Lucy, second. Second by Mr. Bull. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 8:48.
For the next one, right?